Well, if you're a lover of pop and you also want to be healthy, this is going to change your life. Hi, I'm Erica and I live fully off-grid with my husband and 2 kids. As a family, we enjoy delicious food that's also healthy, and that includes treats. So today I'm going to share some of the healthy treats that we've been enjoying this summer in our off-grid cabin. Last year was the year of the popsicle for me. I just made so many different types of popsicles, and some of them are on my website, thehomeintent.com. And this year in the spring, for my birthday, I got an ice cream maker. And so this has been the year of ice cream. We are always making new flavors of ice cream. My favorite way to do it is with a coconut milk base, and it's very simple. A can of coconut milk, a little bit of vanilla, salt, and then whatever sweetener we want to use. Usually it's maple syrup. And then whatever flavorings we decide. So my mistake, we don't always use vanilla. For example, this day we are making a mint chocolate chunk ice cream. So we didn't use vanilla. Mark and our 4-year-old and Mark's mom had gone for a walk and found some wild mint. So we decided to save it and use it to make some mint chocolate chunk ice cream. So we picked a bunch of mint leaves off and I tried blending it in with the coconut milk mixture, and it didn't blend as well as I'd hoped, and the mint flavor wasn't as strong. So I did have some mint extract on hand, and I added some of that to strengthen up the flavor. And I always taste test before I churn my ice cream. At this point, it was a good balance of mint and sweet. And so we got it going. Now I figured out pretty soon why a lot of people recommend to churn your ice cream mixture most of the way before you add any sort of chunk or piece. Because I added my chocolate chunks in probably 5 minutes after it started churning, and they started to get stuck between the blade and the inside wall of the bowl, and so it was kind of popping up. So not ideal. Definitely churn and then add in your chunks like the last 5 minutes of the churning. We also use dark chocolate chunks for less sugar, and we just like dark chocolate. We eat 85% chocolate most of the time. And this is such a cooling, delicious summer treat. Next up is peach pie. Mark had picked up a bunch of peaches, and his favorite dessert is peach pie, so we had to do it for him, and of course the rest of us enjoyed it as well. So we did this over 2 days. The peaches were getting quite ripe, so I decided to prep those along with the pie crust. So we just peeled them, sliced them, diced them, put them in a container in the fridge until the next day when we would make the pie. Then we started making the pie crust. So I have a sourdough starter, and I use it pretty infrequently. It lives in my fridge because I don't actually eat very much wheat. But for things like this, I like to try making sourdough. So I used Farmhouse on Boone's sourdough pie crust recipe. I'll link it below. And I found it easy to follow and it worked out well. The only issue I had was it was very difficult to roll very thin. It did end up being too thick in the end, but still delicious and totally edible. And I'm not very experienced with pie making. I don't do it a lot, again, because I don't eat a lot of wheat and I don't care enough to try to find alternative pie crust recipes that don't have wheat. So anyway, we mixed up this pie crust. It was enough for the bottom of the pie and the top of the pie. So I separated it into two and then chilled those in discs in the fridge. And then the next day I would pull them out and roll them out. Here's our pie filling mixed up. And now we'll get going on rolling out this pie crust. So you roll it out from like straight out of the fridge so that the butter stays cold and keeps everything flaky so it doesn't just melt into the crust, but that is what made it really hard to roll flat. So let me know in the comments. Maybe there's something I'm missing here that I should be doing. So let me know. How do you roll out a chilled pie crust really thin? I would love your tips and tricks for that. Typically, I prefer making a fruit crisp or a fruit crumble over a fruit pie, and part of that is the wheat thing. Like the crisp uses mostly oats, and the flour part I use oat flour, so I don't have any wheat when I make a fruit crisp. Plus, it's just a little simpler and faster and easier to make, in my opinion. But I still enjoy making a pie every once in a while. We moved to our off-grid home in the spring this year, and so I did have a few opportunities to bake in my wood stove oven, which is in the kitchen, but I haven't done it for a few months now, and I'm thinking now as I'm recording this, it's the middle of August, and fall is coming. It's getting chillier in the evenings and overnight, and pretty soon we will be having fires in the wood stove again. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the challenge to try to bake what I can. Pies, crisps, biscuits, bread, whatever I'm baking in the wood stove oven, because we will have a fire going, especially in the dead of winter. It'll be going nonstop. So I'm gonna do my best to bake in the wood stove oven and not use up my propane. So stay tuned for some wood stove cooking in the next couple of months. So we got the pie put together, froze it, took it out and baked it from frozen, and it was delicious. Oh, I also did add an egg wash and sprinkled some coarse sugar on top because it's fun to add those little touches. And of course, we made some homemade vanilla ice cream to go alongside it. I mentioned frozen grapes in a previous video, but I had to mention it in this one because if you're looking for healthy summer treats, this is the one. This I have done for a couple of summers now. We just buy grapes, wash them, freeze them, and it's such a quick, refreshing little treat. You could even have it just for a snack, right? But they're just like little frozen popsicles. And so easy, barely any prep. You just do it all up front, keep them in the freezer, throw some in a bowl, and eat them from frozen. They are just a wonderful little healthy treat. If I told you that you could drink pop and not only not feel guilty about it, but feel good about drinking it, would you believe me? Well, if you're a lover of pop and you also want to be healthy, this is going to change your life. It's called water kefir. In a nutshell, it's fermented sugar water that is naturally carbonated and full of probiotics. So it's actually really good for you. So you take these water kefir grains. I just got mine off of Amazon. I will link that below if you're interested in trying them. They've worked great. So you dissolve a 1/4 cup of sugar. I use cane sugar in a little bit of water. Add that to a jar. Fill the rest of the jar up with water. I use a quart jar, so it's 4 cups of water. Then add your water kefir grains, cover it, and let it sit for 12 to 24 hours depending on the temperature of your home. After that, you will strain out the grains as I did here and put it in a separate jar. And then you add a 1/4 cup of juice to that mixture. You'll tightly close the lid of that jar and let it sit for another 12 to 24 hours till it gets nice and bubbly and carbonated. So I'm filling up that jar with the water kefir grains that I just strained out, filling that up with water, adding my sugar water. Now, the reason you don't want to heat up all of your water is you can kill the grains if you do that. So I only dissolve the sugar in a little bit of the water, and the rest is room temperature or cold water. And there's my 2 jars sitting there, and this one is ready for drinking. Once it's done, you can put it in the fridge and just burp it or release the pressure every couple of days because it will kind of get more and more pressurized. But it's a bubbly, fun drink, healthy. You don't have to feel bad about it, and you can make all sorts of variations with different types of juice. Let me know which of these treat ideas is your favorite, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more intentional living off the grid videos to come. And I have a sneak peek here of some more healthy treat recipes I will be sharing very soon. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.